video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Hi, this is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about the delicious, easy-to-fix, and very storable foods from eFoodsDirect.com. I've told you for years that eFoods Direct has the best storable food on the planet. Now it's that time of year again, and their holiday special is here. They have 2 holiday price packs for you to put into your reserves for a secure future or to share with others. The first is a 6-month bulk supply in 10 cans. And the second is a 5-week supply of quick and easy-to-fix meals, including delicious bakery items shipped in heavy tote bags. Now, for a limited time, when you order 2 or more of these special holiday packs, you'll get free shipping on your entire order. Call now, 800-409-5633, or visit them at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. That's 800-409-5633, or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, it seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Defending the Republic from enemies, foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
I want to get into a host of issues with Gerald Celente before he leaves us here at the end of the hour. Maybe we'll twist his arm to come on the last show of the year, not this next week, but the week after, with his predictions in rapid succession for 2011. But I'm going to get some of those from him here in a moment. But here it is. Regulators exist to serve the banks, next House Finance Chairman declares. So that's the guy above the committee that Paul runs. Paul is able to subpoena and get dirt on the Fed, but the big committee above him says, we are here to serve them. Listen to this. Alabama Republican Spencer Baucus, the incoming chairman of the House Banking Committee, suggests Congress and federal regulators should play a subservient role with banks. Remember a year ago, Greenspan, on the former chairman of the Fed, on PBS saying we're outside government, we run the government, no one can regulate us. I mean, this is just made up pure arrogance. No wonder we're being completely robbed by these people. It's in the Constitution. It's we the people, and the Congress controls that. Just because some monkey tells us in a fancy suit that he rules us, or because some monkey government tells us men in uniforms are going to stick their hands down our pants, doesn't mean they can do it. Here's the quote from Spencer Baucus. In Washington, the view is that banks are to be regulated, and my view is that Washington and the regulators are there to serve the banks. Well, yeah, most of them are former Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan people, foxes guarding the henhouse. Baucus told the Birmingham News in an interview, and it goes on. I mean, totally disconnected. Okay, well, Congress isn't involved with the banks or doesn't have any power over them, then we shouldn't have to pay them all this bailout money. Gerald Celente.
Well, I think the congressman is expressing his feelings about the type of person he is, and the rest of most of Congress, with the exception of Ron Paul and a few others. They're suck-ups and bow-downs. I tell you, Alex, the worst job I ever had was when I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. And I watched grown men grovel all day long. And I had lousy jobs in my day. Well, that was the worst when I was a young man out of graduate school. So this is who they are. They're used to bending over and sucking up, so they feel we should too. And I'm sick and tired of them telling me what I should believe, what I should think, and what I should do. But the fact is, go back to our 2008 Trend Alert when they came out with the TARP scheme. The headline read, D.C. heist, Wall Street hijacks Washington. History was made. It happened right before our eyes. You talked about Rubin, you talked about Geithner, you talk about Gensler, you talk about the rest of the Goldman Sachs gang. Remember Henry Paulson. Frankenstein couldn't have had a better mask than that guy.
Well,
and
you broke it
he
all.
from?
You broke it all down in Obama, Deception, and Fall of the Republic. In both of my films, all of it is now unfolded. And if they can steal 20-something trillion, why not steal 1,000 trillion? Why not go completely crazy? Now, earlier, you tried to get into WikiLeaks, and then we went to break, and I forgot to bring it back up. Talk about what happened to you on Fox.
Well, they brought me on, and it's like 5 against 1. It's in the media blog on our in the trendsjournal.com. And they had a CIA guy, you know, with that look, you know, blonde, handsome guy. You know, get used to it. Get used to the crime and the corruption. That's the real world. What I was saying is this isn't about who leaked what and how. They're upset because it's uncovering what a bunch of losers they are. I want to get this into everybody's minds so you don't let go of it. The same people that they call diplomats, ambassadors, your senators, your congressmen, your legislators, your presidents, your mayors, these are the same people you couldn't stand in high school and college that wanted to become the class presidents and the head of the student council. What WikiLeaks is showing is that's exactly who they are. They're the inept and the incompetent. They're doing dirty deals, and it's being uncovered, and they're going ballistic because that's the only thing that's holding it together. There's nobody behind the curtain. It's what you see is what you get. How disgusting does it have to become when Obama walks on the stage and gives it to Slick Willie to jam legislation down the throats of everybody? Change you could believe in? Man, it looks like an old act to me. It's really a lousy repeat of an old movie. The sequel's as bad as the original. And that's what they're doing. That's the outrage of WikiLeaks. And why aren't they going after the New York Times? Why aren't they going after the Guardian and their Spiegel? Why not? Why? They're printing this stuff. Why go after this guy? And I read all the information that's come out. You know what the charges are when you read this so-called rape charges?
Yeah, he had sex without a condom. I mean, this is classic feminism. And then both the women, especially one of them, have worked for high-level CIA operations in Cuba. I mean, and this is a complete setup.
And who could make this stuff up? I mean, it's like a Disney story, you know. Snow White had sex with the 7 dwarfs and they didn't use a condom? I mean, come on. We're fighting. Okay. We're in immoral wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan. Hey, how about sending predator drones into sovereign countries and killing, quote, suspected militants? Did anybody ever hear of extrajudicial killings? How about going to war for fake reasons? There is no weapons of mass destruction. There were no ties to Al-Qaeda, and there's Bush out there hawking his book, and they're busting a guy for not using a condom.
Well, it gets worse. I mean, Bush.
But that's the level of what we're talking about. Who these people are, and it's being exposed, and they don't like it.
Well, you're right, and Bush. We got the White House memos. We got the memos from John Yoo and Attorney General Gonzalez, where they ordered the torture, and it said, including crushing children's genitals with pliers. I'm sorry to have to talk about that. The Army's own report admitted children being sexually abused with battery acid. Folks, you can't make this up. In fact, I'm not going to say the rest of it on air. Against these children to make their parents give false confessions. They send the sadists to prison as scapegoats once they get caught. Then Bush comes out twice this year and says he ordered torture, he'd do it again, but he's not in prison. So he's like the Gambino crime boss. And meanwhile, his soldiers have been caught carrying out criminal operations. They go to prison, and the crime boss comes out on TV and says, I ordered it, and he doesn't get in trouble. I mean, this is so brazen.
Well, that's what's going on. As I said, the police have become the enforcers for the crime bosses. They're above everybody else. I watched Bush give some of those interviews. You know, he's from royalty. Oh, the great Bush family. Hey, what was that? The great-grandfather, the grandfather's name, Prescott Bush?
Yeah, top Nazi.
Wasn't he doing deals with the Nazis?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, come on with this stuff. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks. I've said it, and that's what it is. They're robbing us. This is the greatest bank robbery in world history, and the banks are doing the robbing. And when we were talking about the crime wave, by the way, look at the security business. It's booming. You call up and try to get alarms installed, you're going to get on a waiting list. And it's going to get a lot worse. If people want to see the businesses to get into, boy, anything having to do with crime-related security is going to be a growth industry.
Well, look at firearms. Record sales in modern history for 2 years in running. And you look at the graphs, it's only going up parabolic. Now, I want to shift gears into some other areas. And I can't say this on air. We never used to talk about things like this, but it's always in the news. We're forced to. This is up on PrisonPlanet.com. KOB, CBS TV's reporting it. It's up on PrisonPlanet.com. These reports have been confirmed. They make fun of other TSA workers' genitals, female workers. They're hiring a bunch of lunatics because only a mentally ill person could put people in radiation bathers, stick their hands down people's pants. They're creating an army who will follow any order to then take over the streets. But here's the PrisonPlanet.com Steve Watson article. Just went up at PrisonPlanet.com. Boy asked TSA, why pat down my mom and not me? TSA replies, and they have witnesses, because you don't have B-word. And I've seen this, where they see a good-looking woman, it is over. These are men that could never get a woman, many of them. Some of them are just guys that want jobs. And they've been caught being child molesters, planting drugs on women, demanding sex. I mean, these are the worst type of power-tripping, low-grade morons. What is your take on the whole TSA situation, Gerald Celente?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for doing all that you have done to expose this. Nobody in the United States anywhere has done more to show what's going on than you have, about breaking it down piece by piece, from that little weasel Chertoff, the former Homeland Security czar, going out after the so-called Christmas Day bomber was going to explode his underwear, and making the rounds on the major media and telling us that we needed these full-body X-ray machines, not ever divulging that Chertoff Group was the consulting firm for Rapid Scam that sells these things. So you've done more than anybody. And what this is so important about, it's one of those elements in the coming Second American Revolution, because we know we're getting robbed by the bankers. A lot of us know that these wars are immoral and that we're wasting trillions of dollars fighting them. And it comes out of our paychecks. But what we know, it's removed. But when you go to the airport and you're humiliated in front of huge crowds, it's a different story. When you go to the airport and you're subjugated to such behavior And it's really, from a man's standpoint or a woman's, there's nothing more to subjugate somebody than to tell them that I could